Bring some Thursday thunder to you today.
Thursday Thunder.
Na 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 na.
I got my hat on, got my swag on. I'm going to talk about
That's
some hype today.
that's some swag that I trust I will be getting soon. Possibly.
The box will arrive as soon as you as later as soon as you open it is your choice.
So today's episode is going to be a really fun one to talk about because this has been near and dear to our hearts for the last few years. And September always sort of just holds a special place in my heart now. And it's been quite an experience, but more so for those that were riding and moving our bodies for. What is HYP, Gail?
HYP stands for Hug Your People. And
Hug Your People.
it is an organization that was created by Baxley, Kevin, and Suzanne Hoover through an event in their life that they went through, childhood cancer. And they just formed a 501c3. And this year, September's Pediatric Cancer Awareness Month is dedicated to HYP and helping build this organization from literally the basement floor.
Yeah.
Kevin and Suze poured the cornerstone and we're building the foundation right now.
Yeah, we're in the second day, and the first day, just us being out there and moving and talking about it, sharing it, and being ambassadors for pediatric cancer, not just the research, but just awareness. Like I want there to be more awareness. And of course we want people to contribute. That's what we're doing by moving our body. And for those that have been following what we've been about and what we represented in September for the last few years, we were attached to Alex's Lemonade Stand. So people will recognize that name likely. But now what we've done is we've just transitioned to the non-for-profit organization, Hug Your People. So the website is hugyourpeople.org, and you can go there and contribute directly. And I'm mentioning that early because I want to mention that throughout this entire episode, that like, this is what we're doing. We're campaigning so that we can bring greater awareness and raise funds. Allow yourself to move your body. I sort of, created this slogan, and I want to use it throughout the month of September, but it's move your body, move your mind, and move your contribution. So whatever you can move it, and so
move it or lose it. That's what they say. Move it or lose it.
Move it or lose it. I'll tell you what, when you move it, you will lose it too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not an either or thing. It's just, how about this? You just move it and lose it.
And gain. The title of today's episode is Tiny Steps Create Big Change.
Mm-hmm.
And it isn't like going out and moving mountains. It's really taking those small steps, and something you and I talk about all the time as a promise keeper. What creates the biggest change in life, Steve? It's the small things you do every single day,
consistently over time.
And
it's one of those, like, if you were to start, let's say, an exercise program, because you need to do it analytically, you're like, gosh, I'm not feeling so great about myself. I'm sort of down on myself. I'm looking in the mirror. I'm not liking what I'm seeing. Do you make a decision and say, all right, I'm going to go to the gym 9 days per week for 5 hours per day? I trust you're not. What you're going to say is, hey, I'm just going to go take that step. I'm going to go take a walk around the block, and I'm going to do that for the next every day for the next 7 days. And maybe I might do that for 2 weeks. And then once you have that confidence, endurance, conditioning, you're like, all right, I'm going to do 2 blocks now. And you slowly small hinges swing big doors.
mm-hmm.
And that's what was so brilliant about what Kevin Hoover has done here in his family. And I don't want to forget about Royce either. Royce, the puppy, the Hoover pup.
Royce, the wonder dog.
There you go.
The co-captain in the big truck dually going down the road. There's Royce.
There, his tongue hanging out the window. I can see it now. I can picture it already. But Kevin had said, hey, here's what we're going to do. We're going to lock arms and we're going to do a 1-100 campaign. And what that means is that for every $100, and there's captains, and we'll probably get into that as well. We're just having a free flowing conversation. So, because this is what we really have a passion for talking about. And so for every $100 that we donate per captain, okay, so I'm a captain, Gail's a captain, Miss Amy Izzo's a captain, Josh Geddig, Dale the Whale, we have Ann Lacoste, we can't forget about Kevin Hoover. There's a few other ones as well.
There's Linda and Katie.
Okay, so
Linda Piazza is my great friend in Texas, and Katie, who's an amazing mom with a survivor herself.
Awesome. Okay, I didn't know that. So, we have amazing humans around us everywhere. And so for every $100 that we donate in any given day, we're choosing to commit to moving our body for 1 mile, however we see fit. Could be walking, could be jogging, could be running, could be bike riding, kayaking.
Except for Steve. I'm just going to put it out here right now. Nobody will outmove Steve Trzek this time. Nobody's going to. We will give it our best, but I give it to you, Steve.
There's so much more to it than that. And people ask me, they say, hey, what drives you? What drives you to move as much as you do, to put so much into this organization and this cause, this movement? And honestly, it's emotion. Emotion is going to drive everything in our life. And that's what I've come to find out, is that people that are willing to raise their hand and say, hey, whatever it takes, if you need, an extra $50 for the day so we can get the $100 in, or, hey, you have $250 in for the day, can I throw in, $150? I want to see you riding more miles. It's because they have an emotion attached to it. Whether they have somebody that they know is suffering or has suffered at some point through cancer. They've seen the treatments, they've seen what chemotherapy does. They see the challenge that it puts on families. They're like, hey, whatever I can do to contribute. I might not be able to do the mile every day, okay, but I can contribute in some way. Maybe it's a one-time donation. Maybe it's sponsoring, because I'm looking for sponsorships. I want, if I'm going to be putting in, I'm going to take a stab at this. There's going to be a couple hundred miles that are going to be put onto this body over this single month of September. What are you willing to contribute? What can you sponsor this with? Are you willing to put 25 cents per mile in? Can you put a dime in? Can you put 50 cents in? Whatever, if you feel comfortable, do the numbers, do the math, because that's going to challenge me. It's going to drive me to do even more. And I believe this, and I'm a firm believer that gratitude is the key emotion that I know I experience on a daily basis through this organization, through HYP, and through the awareness of pediatric cancer. And any moment that I have fear or worry or a sense of pain that's happening in my life, because I know we all experience it, I can change my state just by reflecting on what I'm grateful for. So gratitude ultimately is the antidote for most any pain, fear, worry that we have in our life. And when people are feeling helpless, like we are, like, I'm just thinking about what we're all experiencing through this next stage pandemic. Like, masks are coming back in full force. We have, so much around us that's happening. We're starting to feel helpless again. There's many people through conversation are like, hey, what do I do now? I went through this. I survived through this last one. I'm going through another one. If you're ever going through a moment of being helpless, I suggest just being helpful. And that's what we have an opportunity to do here. This
reminds me of my friend Barbie that you've had a pleasure of meeting on a Zoom call. And Barbie's broke her leg. She's laying out 6 weeks, can't really move, but she wants to. And she's been probably one of my number one supporters as I've launched my campaign to go out and move my body. She shares the videos. She donated yesterday. She was the very first donation that came in for this opportunity.
Thanks, Barbie.
So Barbie, girl, just sit there. You can use your arms now. You got the go ahead to use your arms. So work that upper body, and soon you'll be back on your feet and doing that. So that's one way she's become helpful. So if you see the other captains out there who are posting their live videos, They're sharing their stories, share their posts, share their videos so that we can get the word out of what we're really all about. Because although there's a little friendly competition going on, I think I might be in the lead. I'm not sure, but I earned 8 points yesterday.
After day one. Yeah. That was an impressive day for you, Gail.
Here's how it was impressive, because it started off with Barbie, and then I went and got my hair done. And as my hairstylists, they always want conversation. And Nicole says, "So what's going on this week?" And I just shared with her about Baxley's Wagons, about, Hug Your People. And when she got done, and, I'm sitting in her chair for an hour and a half, almost 2 hours. And she says, "Just donate my time to your cause." And I'm like, "What?" She says, "Yeah, just donate." I said, "All right, well, that's super generous." Because I don't know, most of you know how much it might cost to sit in a chair of a hairdresser for an hour and a half to 2 hours. So here's what I did. I paid it, and she immediately paid what I paid her forward to Baxley's Wagons. And that did something for me, Steve. That was one of those small steps that she didn't have to do that, but it was all on her own accord. She heard the message and she took action. She says, "Here's what I can do. I can donate my time and my chemicals to Baxley's Wagons." And so that really inspired me to go move for the rest of the day. And, part of it is we have to move 1 mile for every $100 donation that comes in. I walked 5 miles yesterday morning. I did my half-mile run, walked back, walked around the lake. And then in the afternoon, I chose to ride my bike. I chose to go, and I thought, I'm an even number person. I didn't want to go 9 miles because 5 + 4 is 9. So I came back and rode next. I got 10 miles in, and it was like at 11:44 last night, my friend Chips sent me a message that he donated, and he actually donated $250 for a wagon. So Canada is on the board. Chip lives in Canada. So this is international happening. And how grateful was I that I chose to move my body those extra miles yesterday. Really grateful. And I'm inspired by the large donations, the small donations. Just think about it, Steve. If 25 people gave $10, that's a wagon. So let's talk about these wagons for a minute, because I want people to understand what the wagons are all about and how important they are to these children who are battling cancer. And so, Bax was in the midst of treatment, and he wanted a wagon. So Susan and Kevin bought him a wagon, and he was comfortable with his pillow, his favorite blanket, his toys, his little superheroes, his John Cena, and I don't know what other character he had the other day, but he loves his little characters. And it was a safe space for him to be wheeled around the hospital instead of in a wheelchair, instead of walking. And so because of their experience with that, Baxley's Wagons has become the main focus of what Hug Your People is all about, as far as helping these children from infant to, I think, 20, 21 or 22 years of age can get a wagon with, some of the older children that might not fit in. I think you said you'd fit in a wagon or something.
if it required me to get in there, I get in there somehow.
So these, but just having all your stuff in one place, all your special stuff that makes you feel a bit more comfortable when you're going through this crazy treatment regime. And so for each $250, Suzanne goes and purchases these wagons. She gets the pillows, the blankets, the toys. There's a whole nomination form on their site, hugyourpeople.org. Go and read about Baxley's Wagons. And if you know somebody who could use a wagon, they can fill out the nomination form. And, not only do they do this for the children, but let's say that child with cancer has 3 siblings. They're going to buy some things for the siblings too, because they're very well aware that it's not just the child fighting cancer that is having a difficult time. It's the other children in the family, the moms. Kevin and Suze are a strong married couple, but there's a lot of single moms out there, single dads out there that are, have multiple children that are battling cancer. And so if we collectively, as a whole unit, through Hug Your People, can help provide funding for them to be able to provide these wagons. I think they had 14 nominations come in one day. So perspective, $2,800 was raised yesterday, 10 wagons. We didn't cover enough wagons for what came in one day. So there's work to be done. We have work to do. And there's a team of captains that we've named that are willing to go to work this month and into perpetuity, as long as it's needed for us to move our bodies and make a difference in the world.
Yeah, it's incredible, really. And just to think what the Hoover family has done by selling their dream home and getting the fifth wheel, and it's nicely decked out, and it's got this great HYP logo on it, and traveling across the country, delivering these wagons to children that need that comfort. They desire that comfort. I couldn't imagine, just what kind of emotions are created for the child and for the family by having a personalized wagon delivered to them with all their favorite things in there, their favorite plush toys and animals and pillows and blankets. And it's an opportunity, and there is, like, September, there's a lot of work in September that we enjoy doing this, and it's a choice. We choose to do this. It's an honor, it's a privilege, and we don't forget about this throughout the rest of the year. That's for sure. So what's the next step, Gail? Because we're day 2, and by the way, kudos to you getting those 10 miles in, because you sent me a message of a Facebook Messenger message while you were riding the bike. I'm like, didn't Gail just get her 5 miles in already? What's she doing on the bike again? Is she trying to chase me down?
I am. I didn't hit 14 miles an hour. Oh, 15. I don't know. We thought you were on a motor scooter.
Hey, I just move with intention. I move with intention. I have relatively busy days as well, and I want to make sure that this is a top priority for me so that I can get my movement in and continue getting the miles, because the more I think about it, I don't want to get into it here, but I'm committing to more than 1 mile per every $100. It just makes sense to me. I don't know exactly what that number is. It might be 2, might be 3, might be 5, but just assure that when you're making this donation, I'm not sure if you mentioned this, Gail, but 100% of the proceeds go to the families and to the children.
Yes.
It's a non-for-profit. So everything is going to the families. So when I'm riding, I get 1 mile, 2 mile, 3 miles. I'm already thinking how donations are coming in and how it's equating to the amount of productivity that we can produce and what we can give back to the kids and the families and their siblings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that's one of the things I admire most about Kevin and Suzanne and this organization. I don't know, maybe some of you are like me, maybe you're not. I know my mom last night, I was talking to my mom and sharing about this with her. And I said, Mom, 100% of the donations go. And she says, well, how did they fund their traveling? I said, well, they sold everything that they had, and that's a separate fund. They're paying for their campsites. They're paying for the gas in the vehicles. They're paying for their food along the journey. They pay for everything it takes to get where they are. And over here is Hug Your People, and all the donations that are coming in are going directly into, the wagons. And also, let's talk a bit about the expenses of the families, because Kevin and Suzanne were very, they found this out going through it. It takes about $12,000 a year out of your pocket just to fight this battle, from trips to the hospital, the gas money, the food the lodging.
That's not including hospital bills.
Not including hospital.
Not even, no.
That's just to get there, to hire help for, people that are watching your children as you're taking your child to the hospital for their cancer treatment. And so, you know, I just got goosebumps because I just think of the power of what this is going to, how this is going to build and grow. These tiny steps, September 2021, are going to ensue big changes for Hug Your People in the years to come.
Yeah, there's a massive compound effect that is happening, and we're grateful to be at the forefront of it.
And hey,
Certainly.
if you want to be a captain, it's not too late. Jump in. You just say I'm in,
Hmm.
and then it's your responsibility to move a mile every day. Get $100 donation every day. 100. And I have a friend, Susan, she says, I did 4.75 miles yesterday walking. How do I log that? I said, I'm logging you on my team, girlfriend, because there might be days when lots of donations come in and I don't want to run short on miles to not be able to have those count. And so if if giving is hard for you, commit to the movement.
Hmm.
Commit to the movement, because here's what it's going to do. It's going to stir that emotion in you that I'm doing something for myself, but I'm doing it for someone else who has the inability to get up and go walk a mile every single day. So
Yeah, if emotion drives us, then share it with us. If you've committed to the mile, share it on your homepage. Share it in the Hug Your People page. Let people know, not from a place of validation or approval, but just saying, hey, my energy is being contributed. And that's going to inspire somebody else to take that tiny step. And then the next tiny step, and then the next small step, so that those steps compound into big change. Because you don't know who knows who you know that might be just raising their hand saying, hey, I want in on this. I want to contribute.
and by getting the word out there, it allows others to know that there's help available. There's help for them through this organization. There's somebody out there right now that needs Hug Your People. If you know, so Kevin and Susan are traveling. Suzanne, I always speak too fast and say Susan, but I know it's Suzanne.
Done that, been there, done that.
But they're traveling the United States. They're here in Michigan till tomorrow. Then they're going to Indianapolis, and they have it mapped out. They're smart. They're heading down to Florida because as the weather starts to get cool, there's lots of southern states that they can visit. But their goal this year is or over the next year and a half, is to hit every 50 state in the United States and donate wagons to children in need. So that's a big undertaking. Maybe your state's not taken. Maybe you live in New Mexico and there's a need for a child in New Mexico and you want to donate for a wagon in New Mexico. Go to hugyourpeople.org, read the stories, but also then click donate and donate. You can do a custom amount. You can do $250 for a wagon. You can do 2 wagons. You can do 10 wagons if you want. However, I have a lot of real estate friends, and here's a challenge I'm going to give to you right now. My husband Steve and I, in the years past, have donated bikes to Toys for Tots. It's a worthy organization. We're switching our mindset around that to Hug Your People. And so a portion of every one of our closings is going to go to Hug Your People. And I want to challenge you. I want to challenge every one of my real estate friends out there to look at giving back. Look at the ways that you can be philanthropic in your very own area and give back, and look at Hug Your People. See if it's Kevin. Kevin's a realtor. He's a realtor himself. He's a real estate coach. He's an amazing human being. And he's very keen in the real estate industry. So this might be something that we can band together and help really make an impact.
Yes, yes, and yes. Well, I think we should further this conversation next episode, at least parts of it. I mean, this is the highway for hugs right now.
Hey, maybe next week we can get a couple other captains on here with us to talk about their experiences and what's happening. So
I think that'd be great. And then one thing to be mindful of as you're donating and you're contributing is also mention the captain. Mention the captain that your donation is going to go. It could be several captains. I mean, you can put down as many as you want. So whomever you know and you want to support, just make sure that in the notes you put Team Gail, or you can put Team PKC as she's going, or you could put Team Steve, Team Let's Go.
Let's go.
Let's go. I mean, again, you have Josh Geddig, you have Dale Phelps or Dale the Whale, Amy Izzo, Kevin Hoover, and Lacoste. So, and the other two, Linda and Katie. Linda and Katie. You know, so I know that when you're watching this, you know more than one of us. And your contributions are greatly appreciated. And I'm grateful for this opportunity.
As am I. So let's go get some miles in today, Steve.
That's where I'm going right now.
Get some miles in, get the donations coming in, and thank you. Thank you for taking an opportunity to hear this message today and to take action.
Absolutely. All right. If you're ready to go, move your body, move your mind, move your contribution. Say, let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go.